What is up, you guys? It is Jess and I'm back, and it has been probably 3 to almost 4 months since my last video. A lot has happened since then. If you have been following me before, you will know that I was in the process of moving from Alaska to New Mexico. I'm finally down here, ready to rock and roll and just start this new journey. I'm so looking forward to going to more shows, being that I'm in more of a centralized area because Alaska literally has no music scene except for a couple times out of the year. And at least here in New Mexico, I'm about an hour and a half from El Paso, 8 hours from Colorado, and about 7 hours from Arizona. So that's probably going to be in the ballpark of these shows that I can go to. So hopefully there will be some pretty good choices within the next couple years because I'm so looking forward to go and making road trips out to those places. So right before I moved to New Mexico, I took some time and flew to Ohio to visit some family, and then we went down to Florida for a week and then back to Ohio. Not even 6 hours after I got back to Ohio, I went to Sad Summer Festival in Columbus. So I had previous obligations that I was supposed to attend to in June, but that unfortunately got canceled, so I was able to move my vacation dates to July, and I kind of just made it about Sad Summer Festival the entire time. That was the one thing I was looking forward to. Sad Summer was pretty much consisted of the main Mayday Parade state champs, as well as some other bands such as Mom G's, Just Friends, and Stand Atlantic. That's pretty much what this video is going to be about because Stand Atlantic, a lot has happened between me and them within the past couple months, so I suggest if you don't want to listen to it, you go ahead and exit out now because it's going to be a long time. So I had just gotten back from Florida and drove up to the venue. I realized it was an outdoor venue and it was going to be extremely hot outside. I think it was between like 90 to like high upper 90s for the temperature, so I knew it was going to be very hot. I was already warped from the Florida sun and I just kind of dreaded going, but I'm really glad that I did. And it was cool because once I got inside the venue, I was looking for Stand Atlantic's tent because I was so excited to see them again. It had been probably since March since I had seen them in Seattle. And what was really cool was their tent was right next to the entrance that I came in. I got in line and the person in front of me was getting ready to go for their meet and greet, and I kind of turned around and Mickey seen me, kind of smiled and waved at me. And as soon as I walked up to him, he was like, "Oh my God, we didn't know you were coming." I was like, "I'm sorry, I lied." He's like, "You lied, why would you do that?" And I was like, "Sorry for my Neapolitan looking ass. I just got back from Florida." Bum was like, "Neapolitan, that's the white, pink, and brown stuff, right?" I was like, "Yup." And after seeing them twice, once with Neck Deep, once with One Ok Rock, third time's a charm, I finally got them to sign my Sidewinder and Skinny Dipping album jackets. So those are something I'm really proud to have added to my collection. Finally got up my nerves. I was literally shaking as I was asking them because I just feel like, you know, yeah, they're normal people, but I look up to them so much. It was really, you know, kind of nice to have them be so down to earth. When it comes to their Sad Summer Fest set list, they of course played the more energetic and kind of upbeat songs such as Lavender Bones, Lost My Cool, Skinny Dipping, as well as some fan favorites such as Speak Slow and Bullfrog. And then from the Sidewinder EP, they of course played Coffee at Midnight, which they had to actually stop and start over because something in the crowd caught their eye. I don't know if it was a fan that was dropped or had passed out. They wanted to make sure they were good to go. So kudos to Stand Atlantic for looking out, being, you know, aware of what was going on. So it was kind of nice to hear. Coffee at Midnight, redone over kind of once and a half. So. And then I was kind of upset that they didn't play Sidewinder because that was one of the ones that I really looked forward to because it's one of my favorites off the EP, but I forgive them. They actually ended up playing Chemicals instead, which was, I think, kind of a little out of left field because I didn't expect it, and it was really cool the way they did it because Potter actually pretty much yeeted himself over the barricade and started playing in the pit while everybody was moshing around him. So I think that was one of the coolest things of that day. So after Stand Atlantic set, I went up to their merch and talked to Potter for probably a good 20 minutes to a half hour, and he had mentioned that they had some more tricks up their sleeves, but he couldn't really say anything yet, and I was kind of intrigued, so of course I was like waiting to see what was going to happen. And then the band started kind of hinting some stuff. I know just before Sad Summer Festival, you know, Mickey was added to Stand Atlantic permanently, and I love that dude to death. Like, he's like such a sweetheart, and I was so glad that he finally was a permanent member. But they also started adding some more stuff, and they started tweeting lyrics from songs that nobody knew about. And that's when Stand Atlantic announced a brand new song called Hate Me Sometimes. And I stayed up for the premiere for this song on Triple J, which was like 2 a.m. my time. And it took me off guard because first I didn't hear it say spaghetti, and then the second time I definitely heard him say spaghetti. And then it just burst out into this like just energetic tune, and it's such a catchy song, and the lyrics are so incredible. And then I love how at the end it just kind of slows down and it just becomes like a little kind of intimate moment. I love this band so much, if you guys can't already tell. So along with announcing Hate Me Sometimes, Stand Atlantic announced a co-headlining tour with fellow Aussies The Fame. This was a tour that was pretty much put on by The Noise is the Ones to Watch tour. I was like freaking out because I hadn't even moved to New Mexico yet, and they had announced this tour, and I was like trying to figure out a way that I could go, because as soon as they announced it, I was flipping my lid on Twitter and I was like, oh my god, I need to go to this. And then Mickey was like, hey, are you gonna go? He's like, because if you go, you can play Coffee at Midnight. And I was like, I don't know, and I was like freaking out. But as soon as I got to my new job, I was like, look, this is something I've looked forward to for 2 years, and it means so much to me. Can I take 2 days, go out there, and then do what I need to do and come straight back? They were like, yeah, you know, do what you need to do, but just make sure you're back to work the next day. I was like, cool. So as soon as I found out that it was a green light go, I was like, hey, I'm gonna be there. I need to know what needs to happen. You know, I was like pretty much freaking out, and I literally had been looking forward to this for 2 years, and I was like practicing, like just trying to see how they play it live. I was like, I can't fuck this up, I can't. So the day before the concert I worked, but I got off at like 3:30, 4 o'clock, went home, got cleaned up, and then was trying to get some sleep. I slept maybe an hour and a half, and I was like, I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna drive as far as I can. So I loaded up and I drove all the way until I got halfway, I believe. So the trip itself was about 7-hour drive with stopping maybe 8. So I stopped halfway between Phoenix and my location here in New Mexico, and I slept for maybe 2 hours and then drove the rest of the way. I don't know if I had nerves because I was excited or because I was scared the fuck out of my mind. So I drove until I got to the venue, obviously. So I got there super early to the venue. I got there at like 10:30, and the venue didn't even open until 7. So I kind of got out and was walking around, looking, you know, around town in Phoenix, and it just got super, super hot. So I just went and sat in my car, and I pretty much had a mental breakdown for like 6 hours. I got to the point to where like 3 times during that trip I was going to turn around and go home because I thought I was out of my mind. So prior to actually starting the trip, I didn't have hardly any communication. It was like, yeah, I'm coming, cool, I'll be there. And then I didn't hear anything until I was on the road. I was like halfway to Phoenix when I got the message saying, hey, what tuning you know it in? You know, have you been practicing, you know, our live stuff? I was like, yeah, you know, I tuned down to drop C and I do all this. And they were like, okay, cool, so you already kind of have an idea what you're doing. So I felt like I was kind of ahead on the ball with that. But I had never had any stage performance experience prior to this, so I pretty much went in with a blind eye, and I just kind of sat in my car for a little bit, and then tour vans started rolling up, and I was like, shit's getting real because they're right there, this is actually happening. So I kind of got out and was walking around, and then closer to about an hour before the doors open, I get a message saying, hey, what are you doing right now? I was like, oh, I'm walking around, I'm close to the venue, and they're like, can you come do sound check for Coffee real fast? And I'm like freaking out because I've never done sound check before. I've never really played in a live setting before. So I was like, yeah, I'll be there. So I was waiting in the front of the venue, and Mickey comes out and gives me a big hug, and he's like, yeah, we gotta make this fast. He's like, you gotta be out by this time. And we literally had like 5 minutes to pull this off. So as soon as I walk in, you know, it was nice to see the whole band standing there, and Mom was like, "You write your guitar, right?" And I'm like, so I started freaking out because I didn't have mine. I was told I didn't need it, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm not gonna be able to play." But she's like, "I'm just fucking with you." I was like, "All right, cool." So we were kind of going over the parts that I was gonna play, and you know, I was like, "Oh, am I playing this part?" And Potter's like, "No, that's my part." I was like, "Okay." He's like, "You're pretty much gonna be playing boss part." I was like, "All right, cool." So I know that. As soon as I started to play, the pick that I was using flew out of my hand. I was like, "Oh my god." I was like, "Oh my god, you know, I'm gonna fuck this up." So I started playing with my fingers because I had to, you know, improvise somehow. So Potter handed me his, and I was like, "I'm gonna fuck this up so bad." And you know, I kind of had a breather, and Mickey was like, "If you ever feel like you're getting lost, just look at me." So I like looked at him and was looking at what he was playing because it's pretty much kind of the same stuff. And I fucked up so bad during sound check. I was playing, you know, the chorus parts and the bridge parts and everything intertwined. I was like, this is not going to end well. It's like, I am going to fuck this up so bad. I'm going to make a fool of myself in front of everybody. And, you know, after we got done with sound check, they were like, "Yeah, you know, just kind of, you know, gather yourself and make sure that you can do this." And he's like, "As soon as we play Roses, you need to be side stage." So what was really cool was I showed the band my brand new tattoo during sound check, and I told him, I was like, "I did something, you guys can't be mad at me." And I showed him my brand new skinny dipping tattoo. Skinny dipping means so much to me, and it kind of made me realize that I am myself out of the closet. I am gay. I have been since I was like 16. And I'm pretty sure everybody knew before I did, but it took me up until July, actually. I was going to tell them that I actually did come out, and I ended up forgetting to tell them, but I told them after I got my tattoo that I am out, and skinny dipping was a huge part of that. And I told them just like how much they actually like changed my life within these past 2 short years. It feels like forever. You know, I went through a really tough time in 2017. A lot of things happened that are just really, really painful and just stuff I don't like to talk about. And that's when St. Helena came along and kind of saved not only my guitar playing, but they saved my life. You know, I definitely wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for them. And I've never had a connection with a band like that before. So it's something that I value so, so much. And just for them being such wholehearted, genuine people, every time I see them, it just makes everything so worth it every time I go to see them. So when it comes to their set list, they pretty much played everything except for their 2 covers, Your Graduation, Make Damn Sure, as well as Cigarette Kiss and Mess I Made. Those were the only ones that they didn't play. So it was insane to hear songs like Roses, Clay, and Toothpick. I almost cried during Toothpick. I wanted to so, so bad and I didn't, but it was such an amazing song to hear live. And then of course they played, you know, favorites such as Speak Slow, Bullfrog, and then the original ones that they usually do, like Lost My Cool, Skinny Dipping, and Lavender Bones. And then from the Sidewinder EP, they played all of them except Mess I Made, so Sidewinder, Coffee at Midnight, Push, and Chemicals. So what was really cool was during Skinny Dipping, Sammy from Waster came out and kind of added his own flair to it, so that was really, really cool to see. So I kind of kept the idea that I was playing St. Atlantic to a minimum. Only like a handful of people knew that I was playing, and I told one of the girls standing next to me, I was like, "Hey, I'm going to hand you my phone before Coffee at Midnight, and I'm going to run over here." And then she was like, "Okay." She was like kind of like, you know, weirded out a little bit. And then I told her, "I'm going to be up on stage," and she's like, "Oh, I hope security doesn't get you." And I was like, "No, you don't understand." So at the end of Roses, I'm sitting there, you know, kind of trying to compose myself and get all of my thoughts together. At the end of Roses and in between Roses and Coffee at Midnight, and Mom was like, "I'm going to introduce you to somebody." I'm like, "Oh, Lordy, this is happening." And she started hyping me up so bad, calling me a legend and saying everybody needs to get on my level. And I'm thinking, I'm really not that good of a guitarist. Like, this was something that was completely like out of the blue like 2 years ago. And, you know, the guitar gets tuned up and, you know, I go on stage and I'm just kind of like trying to compose myself. So the song starts playing and Potter's, you know, doing his little part at the beginning. Mickey kind of puts his hand on my shoulder. I look at him and I was like, all right, I can do this. As soon as that like bit comes in that I'm supposed to join in, I just hammer down and I pretty much lose all of the negative nerves that I had, and I just started getting in with the crowd, and it was literally one of the best feelings I have ever felt before. And if I could go back and relive it, I would in a heartbeat, because that feeling was just insane, and I understand why people want to be musicians so bad. And just seeing the crowd just be energetic and just like being up on stage and just having fun, it was like so crazy. So I actually did not mess up during the song. I did almost fall when I tried to jump, but thankfully I was able to catch myself, so it didn't look like I bombed too bad. But I usually don't move a whole lot when I play guitar, so I really started to get into it. I did some spins, I did some jumps, and that's about it. And that was the best feeling I think I've ever felt, and just being up there with them. And you know, I want to say we're friends, but that might be a little stretch, but I do love them to death. And as I was getting off stage, you know, Mickey kind of hugged me and he's like, you killed it. He like whispered in my ear, you killed it. I was like, oh my god. I had such bad nerves, and I got off stage and I like kind of walked to where I was back in the crowd, and everybody started like giving me high fives and everything, saying that it was so good, and like it was just a confidence booster. I had never really gotten that good of feedback before, so it was definitely an insane thing to fathom, and I appreciate everything Stand Atlantic has done for me, and just letting me be such a small part of their first US headline tour. So after the show, of course, you know, I went to go see them at the merch table, and they're trying to round up everybody because all of the members are like scattered everywhere. But eventually we got everybody rounded up, and you know, I started to explain to them like what all, like the whole process and what everything meant to me, and you know, it was really cool. I think this was the best time I've ever seen them, not just because I played with them, but because I'm just so proud of how far they've come. And what was really cool is like I had people coming up to me that, you know, they enjoyed my performance. I actually signed somebody's wall flag. That was the first autograph I've ever given, and if you're, sweetheart, if you're watching this, please send me a picture of that, because that made my night. But I had to explain to her that I actually wasn't in the band, but it was kind of cool just to have my first autograph the same night that I played with Stand Atlantic, so that was kind of cool too. So eventually I did tell them that my tattoo did symbolize me coming out. Bon actually congratulated me, and I just thought that was like the best feeling ever, and it was just something that made that whole night more memorable. And you know, they really appreciate, I think, everything that I've done for them. You know, I've been a huge supporter of them for 2 years, and I told them, I was like, you guys have legit saved my life, so, you know, don't take that for granted. So I'm really glad of how great, you know, that tour had turned out to be. And apparently Boots from Waster was supposed to play Coffee Midnight, so I guess he was like standing there getting ready to go on, and then I was handed the guitar, and it was like, sorry, but no, he said that I killed it too. What was really cool is I had, you know, members from the other bands coming up to me. I think I had Sammy from Waster come up to me, and then maybe a couple of the guys from Point North come up, but it was really cool. The whole, you know, the whole night was just mixed with random stuff. Like Mickey jumped up on stage with the Fame to play Fire, which I thought was really cool, and then the Fame's keyboard bassist player actually played Coffee at Midnight with me up on stage as well, so I thought that was pretty cool. But overall, it was probably one of the best nights of my life, and I really needed the getaway, even though I made a suicide run back to New Mexico, and I had so much caffeine in my system, I actually crashed for like 14 to 15 hours after I got home. Thankfully, I made it home okay, no problems, but I do not recommend going that far on just caffeine. If you're gonna do it solo, get a good amount of sleep, or stop and get a hotel. I made the decision not to get a hotel, and I just slept in my car. And yeah, that was probably another reason why I didn't sleep very well, because I was sketched out. But always have a plan when you're driving that far. I love doing road trips. I guarantee you it would have been a lot better if I had, you know, some company, but listen to myself sing for 8 hours is definitely probably the most annoying thing I've ever heard. So yeah, I will definitely be taking more trips, especially if State Atlantic comes along again. Hopefully they're a little bit closer than Phoenix, but I guess if it comes out to it, I'll make another trip out there. But we'll see how everything goes. Hopefully, you know, they'll be back soon. But they have said that they are getting ready to have a secret project at the end of the year, so I'm guessing they're going to be back in the studio. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. But yeah, so State Atlantic, Bon, Mickey, Jono, Potter, if you guys are watching this, I just want to say I'm so proud of you. I've loved seeing the growth that you guys have done over the past couple years, and then just being able to see you guys on every tour that you've done over here the past 4 times. You guys have literally gone out of your way to make things possible for me, and I'm so grateful and appreciative of that. And I want to thank you for letting me be a small part of your first ever US headline tour, and I'll definitely, you know, cherish it for the rest of my life. You know, that was definitely something that forever will be memorable for me. So I hope, you know, maybe in the future we can do it again, but the one time was enough for me. But I definitely value your guys. I definitely value you guys and everything that you guys have done. You know, I'm so grateful to have you guys in my life, even if you are just a band that plays music, but I know that you guys deep down are some of my best friends, and I value you guys for everything that you guys are worth. You guys are so genuine, wholehearted, down-to-earth people, and you guys are very hard to come by. So I appreciate everything you've done. Thanks for letting me play and jam with you guys, and I hope to see you guys again soon. So I will be uploading my full performance of Coffee at Midnight with State Atlantic. It will be up immediately after this video, so if that's something you guys want to see, make sure you check it out. I will post the link in the description of this video. So, there's nothing else. I'm Jess. See you later.